Yes, splicing in a junction box, often abbreviated as J-box, for pulling purposes is permissible when the electrical feed originates from a generator. This is a common practice to facilitate wire runs and connections. However, it's crucial to adhere to safety protocols and electrical codes to ensure a safe and reliable installation. Here are the steps to splice wires in a J-box when the feed is from a generator. Firstly, and most importantly, turn off the power to the generator and any downstream circuits connected to it. This is a fundamental safety measure to prevent electrical shock or injury during the splicing process. Verify that the power is indeed off using a voltage tester before proceeding. Secondly, open the J-box. J-boxes are typically metal or plastic enclosures designed to house electrical connections. Carefully open the J-box and remove the knockouts, which are pre-scored or pre-cut openings in the box where the cables will enter. Use a screwdriver or pliers to remove the appropriate knockouts for the number and size of cables you'll be running into the box. Thirdly, prepare the wires. This involves stripping the insulation from the ends of the cables that you intend to splice together. Use a wire stripper tool to carefully remove the insulation without nicking or damaging the underlying conductor. The length of insulation to remove will depend on the type of connector or method you'll be using for the splice. Fourthly, make the wire connections. This is where the actual splicing takes place. There are several methods for splicing wires, including using wire nuts, crimp connectors, or terminal blocks. When using wire nuts, twist the exposed wires together securely in a clockwise direction before screwing on the wire nut. Ensure that the wire nut is properly sized for the number and gauge of wires you're connecting. For crimp connectors, insert the stripped ends of the wires into the connector and crimp it tightly using a crimping tool. Terminal blocks provide screw-down terminals for making secure connections. Fifthly, secure the wires within the J-box. After making the splices, securely fasten the wires to the J-box using insulated wire clamps or cable connectors. These clamps prevent the wires from being pulled or strained, which could loosen the connections or damage the insulation. Make sure the clamps are properly sized for the diameter of the cables you're using. Sixthly, insulate the splices. Even though the connectors, such as wire nuts, provide some insulation, it's a good practice to further insulate the splices with electrical tape. Wrap electrical tape tightly and evenly around the connections, overlapping the tape to create a secure and waterproof seal. This helps prevent short circuits and protects the connections from moisture and corrosion. Seventhly, close and secure the J-box. After all the connections are made and properly insulated, carefully close the J-box and secure it in place. Make sure the cover fits tightly and is properly fastened to prevent dust, moisture, or other contaminants from entering the box. The J-box should be mounted securely to a wall, ceiling, or other support structure using screws or other appropriate fasteners. Now let's talk about some cautions. It is important to use the proper type of connectors for the size and type of wire being used. Different types of wires, such as solid or stranded, require different types of connectors. Make sure the connectors are rated for the voltage and amperage of the circuit. Twist the wires together securely to ensure a good electrical connection. A loose or poorly made connection can cause overheating, voltage drop, or even a fire hazard. Insulate the splices thoroughly to prevent short circuits. Exposed wires can come into contact with each other or with the metal enclosure of the J-box, resulting in a short circuit. Make sure the J-box is properly sized for the number of cables and splices. Overcrowding the J-box can make it difficult to work on the connections and can also increase the risk of short circuits. Select a J-box that is large enough to accommodate all the wires, connectors, and splices without being too crowded. Also, consider these additional points. If the J-box is located outdoors or in a wet environment, use a weatherproofed J-box and appropriate sealing materials. Weatherproof J-boxes are designed to protect the electrical connections from rain, snow, and other environmental elements. Use waterproof connectors and sealing compounds to prevent moisture from entering the box. Ensure that the J-box is accessible for future maintenance or troubleshooting. Don't bury the J-box behind a wall or ceiling where it will be difficult to access. The J-box should be located in a place where it can be easily inspected and worked on if necessary. Always follow local electrical codes and the manufacturer's instructions when splicing in a J-box. Electrical codes vary from place to place, so it's important to familiarize yourself with the specific requirements in your area. The manufacturer's instructions provide detailed information on how to properly install and use the connectors and other electrical components. Let's discuss National Electrical Code (NEC) considerations for using J-boxes with generator feeds. While the NEC doesn't specifically prohibit splicing in a J-box for generator feeds, it does provide guidelines for safe and compliant installations. Article 300.14 of the NEC addresses length of free conductors at outlets, junctions, and switch points. It requires that at least 6 inches, or 150 millimeters, of free conductor length, measured from the point in the box where it emerges from its raceway or cable sheath, shall be left at each outlet, junction, and switch point for splices or the connection of luminaires or devices. This ensures that there is sufficient wire length for making connections and for future maintenance or modifications. Section 314 of the NEC covers outlet boxes, conduit bodies, and handhole enclosures. This article provides requirements for the construction, installation, and support of J-boxes. It specifies the types of materials that can be used for J-boxes, the minimum size requirements, and the methods for securing the boxes to the building structure. Section 314.16 of the NEC addresses the number of conductors allowed in outlet boxes. This section provides tables and formulas for determining the maximum number of conductors that can be installed in a J-box based on its size and the size of the conductors. It's important to comply with these requirements to prevent overcrowding the J-box, which can lead to overheating and other problems. Section 314.17 of the NEC covers the wiring entering boxes, conduit bodies, or fittings. This section specifies the methods for protecting conductors where they enter a J-box, such as using cable clamps or conduit fittings. It also requires that the conductors be securely fastened to the box to prevent them from being pulled or strained. Article 445 of the NEC covers generators. While this article doesn't specifically address splicing in J-boxes, it does provide requirements for the installation and wiring of generators, including the sizing of conductors, overcurrent protection, and grounding. When installing a generator and associated wiring, it's important to comply with all applicable requirements of Article 445. Article 700 of the NEC covers emergency systems. If the generator is part of an emergency system that provides backup power to essential loads, such as lighting, fire pumps, and life safety systems, then Article 700 applies. This article provides additional requirements for the design, installation, and testing of emergency systems to ensure that they are reliable and function properly during a power outage. Let's talk about generator-specific considerations. When splicing in a J-box for a generator feed, there are some additional considerations to keep in mind that are specific to generators. Firstly, generator output voltage and current. Generators can produce a wide range of output voltages and currents depending on their size and design. Make sure that the J-box, connectors, and wiring are rated for the voltage and current produced by the generator. Using components that are not properly rated can result in overheating, damage, or even a fire hazard. Secondly, generator grounding. Generators must be properly grounded to protect against electrical shock and to provide a path for fault current to flow back to the source. The grounding requirements for generators are specified in Article 250 of the NEC. Make sure that the J-box is properly grounded by connecting it to the generator's grounding electrode system. Thirdly, generator overcurrent protection. Generators must be protected against overcurrent, such as short circuits and overloads, to prevent damage to the generator and the connected equipment. The overcurrent protection requirements for generators are specified in Article 445 of the NEC. Make sure that the J-box is located downstream of the generator's overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse. Fourthly, generator disconnect means. Generators must have a disconnect means to allow the generator to be isolated from the electrical system for maintenance or in case of an emergency. The disconnect means must be readily accessible and clearly labeled. Make sure that the J-box is located upstream of the generator's disconnect means so that the J-box can be de-energized when the generator is disconnected. Fifthly, generator location and environment. The location and environment in which the generator is installed can also affect the splicing requirements. For example, if the generator is located outdoors or in a wet environment, a weatherproof J-box and appropriate sealing materials must be used. If the generator is located in a hazardous location, such as an area where flammable gases or vapors are present, special explosion-proof J-boxes and wiring methods must be used. Here are additional safety measures to consider. Always work with a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to hire a qualified electrician to perform any electrical work, including splicing in a J-box. A qualified electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to safely and properly install electrical components. Use the right tools for the job. Using the wrong tools can damage the wires, connectors, or J-box, and can also increase the risk of electrical shock. Use the proper wire strippers, crimpers, screwdrivers, and other tools for the specific type of electrical work you're doing. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE. When working with electricity, it's important to wear appropriate PPE, such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated shoes. These items can help protect you from electrical shock, burns, and other injuries. Inspect the J-box, wires, and connectors for damage before using them. Damaged components can be a safety hazard and should be replaced before starting any electrical work. Make sure the J-box is clean and free of debris before making any connections. Test the connections after making them. After making the splices, use a voltage tester to verify that the connections are properly made and that there are no short circuits or ground faults. This can help prevent fires and other electrical problems. Keep the work area clean and organized. A cluttered work area can increase the risk of accidents and can also make it more difficult to perform the electrical work properly. Keep the work area clean and organized, and dispose of any scrap wire or other debris properly. Never work on live circuits. Always turn off the power to the circuit before working on it. This is the most important safety precaution you can take to prevent electrical shock. By following these steps, cautions, and considerations, you can safely and effectively splice in a J-box for a generator feed. Remember to always prioritize safety and to comply with all applicable electrical codes and manufacturer's instructions.